And welcome, welcome, welcome. Below the belt, it's Monday, the 13th day of December already, folks. Can you believe it? It is Monday, December 13th. And if you guys are hearing us a little differently, we've had to find a little workaround here in studio. Folks, in this country we call the Cooperative Oil Producing Republic of Guyana. It is so many challenges on a daily basis. But we're going to keep persevering. So we came into studio this morning only to learn that we don't have any internet. And so we call our service provider to be told that they're doing some work in the area. We're not going to have the internet till after lunch. No sooner we find a workaround to that, then we are burdened with blackout. We're burdened with blackout. So we have to find a workaround to all of that. In the good old oil producing Republic of Guyana, we have a common refrain here. This is Guyana. This is Guyana. That is the one refrain that we have. But it's good to see so many of you guys who are joining the broadcast. It is really good to see so many of you tuning in. We are heartened by that. And we see Claire Jamath is joining us. We see Claudette Clark. Good to see you, Claudette. Claudette, I got the thing, girl. I got the thing. Who no, wait quick. Colin Alexander, good to see you as well. And Lizzie Simeon, good to see Tiffany Adams as well, and Dawn Barnes or Baines rather. East Ridge is here with us, and George Annan. Jermaine Osborne is here as well, along with is it Norma? Yes, Norma Jones. And Claudette Clark, all of our favorite folks, Dawn Baines and Laverne, is it Lincott? You got some fancy names, some real fancy names. Good to have each and every one of you with us. It's a better day weather-wise. Well, I shouldn't say a better day. It has been raining sporadically in the national capital city where we are of Georgetown, and we know it's raining in some other places. There's lots of flooding nationwide. I saw over, I think, 5,000 households affected. Since the common people is problems, is blackout. Just last week, the CEO of GPL said he cannot guarantee we will have power for Christmas, and he has not been wrong. Blackout, where we are. And now we have the issue with internet. I mean, we're supposed to be progressing, isn't that so, people? As a nation, we got millions and billions in oil revenue rolling in. We're supposed to be getting better, but it seems we're getting worse. 64 days after the parliamentary recess came to an end, they have reconvened parliament and a whole set of government business on the private members' day. It is one dysfunction to the next. Nevertheless, we have a duty. We got the energy to persevere. And just like we had to find some workarounds to get the program to, because we got blackout and we got substantive internet issues, we are going to keep persevering. We are going to keep being innovative and creative, because they can't hold we. Good to have each and every one of you guys. Today we are talking about, let me make sure we have it clearly. Yes, we are talking about the Malini Wahid affair. Wahid, I'm just going to make sure I have the pronunciation right. The Malini Wahid story. And this is the woman, 48 years old, who was brutally murdered by her partner just over the weekend here in Monrepo. Just over the weekend. Malini Wahid. And then the fella had the good sense, perhaps, and I say this sparingly, to take his own life, because he knows he would have been facing a lot of years behind bars. So he took her life in the most brutal fashion, strangled her after what the news reports are telling us constitutes years of abuse. Years of abuse, He strangled her. And what we're hearing is that there were lots of reports that were made over the years. This is what we're learning from quite a number of news reports. A lot of reports to the police station, they seem to have turned a blind eye. And then, more than that, we're hearing that the authorities, one senior PPP installed minister is being fingered as knowing that this woman was being abused and turning a blind eye to the effect that when the perpetrator on a couple of occasions was placed behind bars, this individual, this senior functionary in the PPP administration, would seek his release from jail. And so these are the issues before us. We should be joined today by Member of Parliament, Natasha Singh Lewis, who has worked for many years in social services and have a good handle and sense and direction on these issues. We should be joined also by Member of Parliament Tabitha Sarabo Hali. And we should be joined as well by Region 3, able Vice Chair, Region 7 rather, Region 7, the Kuyuni Mazaruni region, the Vice Chair there of that region, in particular out of Bartika, right? Nagashwari Prasad. We know her as Kamal Prasad. I was trying to get her other name, and she's going to remind us of that. Huh? So Kamal Prasad, the vice chair of Region 3, of Region 7, why am I Region 7, CUNY Mazaruni region, is going to join us as well. And we hope to chart a way through this issue because we know that there's so many people out there, so many women out there. And it has brought us to ask the question, when did we stop protecting our women? Folks, listen to me. Let me tell you my own story personally. Well, I can't tell you anybody else's story personally. I's not a pie. I got my ways. I ain't gonna wait for the jagaban to tell you. Yeah, I know I got my ways. But I can say without, without any successful contradiction, I have never in all of my years, many years and decades, you understand me, hit a woman. And I have no intentions of doing that. In all my years. We gonna row, we gonna fall out, we gonna stop talk. But I ain't going down the road. And my encouragement to men, I heard one pastor just yesterday morning, Pastor Raphael Messiah, Reverend Dr. Raphael Messiah, saying, if you get angry, take a walk, my brother, take a walk. I'm privileged to have with us again, Member of Parliament Natasha Singh Lewis, Member of Parliament Tabitha Sarabo Hali is going to be with us shortly, and we do have with us the Region 7 Vice Chair, Region 7 Vice Chair, Kamal Prasad is with us. Nagashwari Prasad is with us. Welcome, ladies. Welcome. And we're going to ask Kamal to unmute her mic and join the discussion in any order once you have joined us in studio.
Good afternoon, Sharad.
Good afternoon, Region 7 Vice Chair. I gotta repeat it often because I'm saying Region 3 today for some reason. Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear. Welcome, Kamal.
Thank you, Member of Parliament, the Honorable Sharad Duncan, for having me on your program this afternoon again.
Great to
And
have
good
you on.
afternoon to everyone tuned in and listening to your program.
You know, it's so sad that we're right back here because we were here just last week, believe it or not. Well, week before the last, we were on and we were discussing a similar issue concerning the abuse of our women folk, and it has brought us again very frontally to the question: are we protecting our women folk enough? When did we stop protecting them? The authorities especially. seem to be turning a blind eye. And when you go to the station, is man and woman story. They are very proud to say they are doing this training program and that training program. But as we asked on that other program, is the message getting through that when women especially come to the police station, come to the authorities with complaints of abuse, that they are taken very seriously and the matter is given the kind of urgency and seriousness that is needed?
Well,
I think we have
Sharad, I like to
Natasha with us
use
now.
like
Go right ahead. Come on.
um, I like to use my personal experience as a guide, because when you've had encounters of such, then you can speak from a place of knowledge, of knowing, and not just hearsay. While we do not want to paint everybody with the same brush, when I was being physically abused in my relationship by my partner, I approached law enforcement. At that time, I was living in Bartica as well. And one of the most disheartening experience I have is a police officer back then telling me that if I press charges against this person that I'm having a relationship with, then I will also have to be charged because I also I fought back. I defended myself. So in me defending myself, it put me in a position now where I had to be was told that I would also be charged and placed before the court. That is just one scenario. But
Mm-hmm.
like you
Mm-hmm.
said, it is so disheartening that we are in this era where women are being brutalized, they're being raped, they're being beaten, they're being murdered, they're being verbally abused. And we seem not to be able to find a common ground to work together as a nation to address these very, very serious issues that is quite evidently becoming more and more serious. And that is what a lot of women, although women are not the only ones that suffer abuse, um, it is the other pandemic that goes unnoticed, because you
Yeah.
look at the numbers and imagine those women that suffer in silence, those that are afraid to speak out, those that are afraid that they would be left without a home or their children taken from them if they stand up for themselves. So it is quite disheartening when we have a system that continuously fails victims of abuse, and it's getting worse. I read the article to gain, well, I read it when it happened. That's how we get information. Um, and to see that relatives stated that they called the hotline, the domestic hotline, and the call went unanswered. Um, we
I was
were
coming to that. Another issue.
we were talking just last week about the 18-year-old young woman in another incident that went to report an incident of alleged rape and subsequently took her life. And now to be here again to talk about a young woman, a beautiful young woman, 48 years of age, who was strangled to death by a man that continuously assaulted her throughout the years. But this woman went to the system. This woman did speak out. This woman did take action. This matter was just in the court. So who are we to say failed this woman? And ultimately, her life was the price. Her family is left to grieve. Um, her loved ones is left with this pain. Well, the coward took his life, and unfortunately, we have to address these issues and find ways to work with the men folk as well, because we can't just keep telling women they must speak out, they must seek uh, law to intervene and so forth. And we're not really talking to the larger perpetrator. While I want to re emphasize that a lot of male also suffer from physical domestic violence and other forms of abuse, but the prevalence of it in comparison with the men and the women, I believe just last week in the stats they say one of every two women, one out of every two encounters some form of abuse by her partner, her husband, somebody close to her. So that alone speaks volumes. But we can't
Mm-hmm.
be in a nation that seems to be turning a blind eye when it comes to such a serious issue. I do believe last year when the budget was spread, I think I saw 50 million Guyana dollars was allocated to the fight against domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
Now we had during the same period or not very long after, a signage that was placed on the road that cost $25 million. I'm comparing these two figures because it says to any right thinking Guyanese how serious we are about the
It tells
social.
you about your priorities.
Yes, because you have women losing their lives, children suffering, and so much going on. And let's not forget those that suffer in silence because of um, their economic, their reliance on their partner. They want to ensure that their children are not left to punish and all various reasons. Um, and we're not addressing these issues. We need to focus more on the men folk and what is affecting them and mental health as well, because it is a very complex thing for me to say that somebody can say, like an actual right thinking human being can say out of love they strangle the person that
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
love. It has to be more than that. And when we have a society that is laid back and not really implementing new strategies to fight this this pandemic, then we're not really serious. We talk and we wear orange and we say we're all about this and we have these events and that events and what. But when you put $50 million towards the fight, what does that say? Um, I believe that they might have parties and social events that are being hosted around this country because of various activities when they're dignitaries visiting and whatever that might cost that amount of money. So do we really value our women folk? And listen, this is everybody's concern because a woman is a mother. She bears children. Our how our society treat women says how how we view women. We have countries across the world where we see a woman cannot even drive a car, but we're not that country. Um, Likewise, there are other countries where women get equal pay, or at least they're working towards making equality and security of women and all of these things um, up to standard. But
Mm-hmm.
Guyana seems to be in a state of um, rescinding to a point of complete, like I said in my last, complete lawlessness, where all you got to know is somebody in some system, and you can rape, murder, and do all kinds of things. Let's just pause to remember the young lady in Region 9 that was shot to her abdomen.
Yep.
What
Yep.
happened
Yep.
there? where are the voices? Where are the ones that are receiving um, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month to do their job, to represent these vulnerable people? I know I've said quite a lot, Sharad, on your program here, but it is very, very sad. I believe that when things like this happen, I don't think it's the women. I noticed it's my sisters, my coalition sisters on the program. Where are the voices of more men? The men should be outraged. These are our mothers, our daughters, our sisters, our aunts, our nieces. Where are the
Yep.
voices of the men? And
And
this
for
is
those
what I'm
persons
saying.
who,
We need to shift. We need to shift that mindset where it is believed that it's the women who have to fight for the rights of the women, or the women who have to speak out against these things when it's happening. Where are the good men? This was a
that's
40
the other
year
question we
old
have to ask.
40-year-old
Yep.
woman, beautiful and cut down in her
Yep.
prime. Are you telling me that it doesn't bother? Or and when I speak in general. I don't speak specifically. I know there are lots of men who use their voices. You are one of those persons. But we need to get all hands on deck if we're going to really address and fight against this. This has been going on too
Scorch.
long,
I think
Brian.
that's what I think it is. Folks who are now joining us, you are tuned into Below the Belt. I'm your host, Sarah Duncan, and we're discussing the Malini Wahid story. And this is the 48-year-old woman, as Kamal said, who was brutally murdered over the weekend and strangled to death by her partner. And, as we hear more of Malini's narrative, the more bizarre this story becomes. Who knew, who did nothing, and all of that. And I want to pull in Natasha here into the discussion because Kamal was talking about where we are as a country. We seem to be numb now to domestic violence and physical abuse and all of that. And it just tells of the state of the country. We were talking early on as we came in, as we started the program, about coming into the studio early to get the program done. There's blackout. The internet isn't working. The service provider tells us they're doing something in the area where we are. $50 million is given to fight this scourge on our society in the national budget, and we want to get out there and we want to say, oh, this is the biggest budget ever. But what you spend on tells us your priority as a country. And clearly, $50 million is not enough. And let me plug something else as I'm here. And while I'm inviting you guys to share the live stream so that as many persons can benefit from the discussion as possible, just to tell us where our priorities are, to see that institution, the Sophia Night School, government pull funding from that school. How much is the funding per month? $50 million? No, about $400,000 a month to sustain that school that is benefiting people. It tells us where our priorities are as a nation. Natasha.
Sarah, good afternoon to you and my sister Kamal. Good afternoon to you. Your listeners, I know that they look forward to this lunch break session with you, Sherrod. What has happened with Miss Wahid is tragic. And I want to say at the beginning of this program that the system failed Miss Wahid. And when we speak about
Help
system,
us, Lord.
we
Help us.
we have to ensure that we put it into perspective. The government of Guyana, the PPP installed government, has failed Malini
Hmm.
Wahid. And why I want to elaborate a little bit on that, Sherrod. Please permit me. Why am I saying that the system has failed her? I noticed
Go
that
right ahead,
the
Natasha.
I noticed that the installed minister, Vindi Prasad, would have issued a statement. And I hear Kamal is repeatedly reflecting on who we are as a people, our state of mind, and where we are. In all of this that has happened, the only thing that the ministry that is responsible for this scourge could have done is to issue a press release distancing themselves from the allegations made by the relatives of Miss Wahid. So the relatives would have said, I think it was Travis Trace Live, that they made calls to the 914 hotline and they got no response. Instead of a visit to the family, instead of empathizing with these people, sympathizing with them, trying to bring some level of comfort to this family who lost tragically two family members, you're going to issue a statement defending your position. That says a lot to me. You understand? This is how they
It's
care about
incredulous.
poor people in this country, Sherrod. I said that the system failed this young lady. Sherrod, you can remember in March of this year, I believe, right at the Artichon Conference Center, when they had the big mailer about International Women's Day. You remember Irfan Ali with a phone in his hand in a big photo op. And that is what this is about. That $50
They
million.
talk, but they don't walk the walk.
And they want to show the photograph that they're doing work. But let me say to you, that photograph said that Irfan Ali was supporting the Minister of Human Services in the launch of a gender-based violence service guide app. This is an app to use on your phone. It will enable persons to access help and support. They did that in collaboration with the UN Population Fund. Sherrod, this app will allow or should have allowed anyone affected by violence to access information and the various agencies that can offer support or assistance. The app, the creation of this app follows a prior collaboration, which was in our time, which saw the mapping of the gender-based violence services in Guyana and the development of referral pathways. These initiatives were started
I hear you. I hear you. But as Natasha comes back into the discussion, we have Kamal with us. The question, can be asked. If you're not picking up a phone when people call you, I can trust that you at the back of an app. I can trust that you're at the back of an app doing something. If you're not picking up the phone, right? Is it the 41119? I want to get the number accurately. You're not answering the phone as an app. Huh? The sophistication of an app you're gonna help me through? Come on, folks, come on. And then they always seem to be attacking the messenger. The people have a legitimate grievance. They said somebody in this government knows that this woman was suffering and helped her perpetrator escape the hands of the law many times. And instead of launching some investigation, they come out in defense. Similar, the Human Rights Association locally made several damning charges against the police. Huh? What did the AG, the Attorney General, did? He come out and lash the Human Rights Association, well as they had election, why they didn't speak up during the protracted electoral period last year. All manner of nonsense, besides dealing with the issue at hand. Was this woman's death avoidable? Was her death avoidable? What is the answer to that? What is the answer to that? The answer is yes. I am certain Michaela Webster would agree that her death was avoidable. Maud France would agree with us that this woman's death was avoidable. Paul Page, won't you agree with us? Pamela Thomas, won't you agree with us? The woman's death was avoidable. Patricia Kisoon, I am certain you would agree with us that had the authorities paid more attention, took more serious what the woman, what was reported according to the reports several times to police station, to the police authorities. And we are told that when the man, the perpetrator, her abuser, Kamal called him a coward, her abuser, was placed in the lockups, calls came from a high official in the government, right? High official in the government, this PPP installed government. The calls came from there, protecting this fellow, because that is how the society is. Right? This government can own abusers. They own abusers, right? Last week we were quoting from the social media posts of a woman who said, enough of them wear jacket and tie, but if you see them behind closed doors. I am certain, Malini Wahid, Malini Wahid would perhaps offer the same words, right? Of the woman who we quoted just last week, who said, you never know how strong you are until strong is your only choice. You never know how strong you are until strong is your only choice. Natasha, what are your thoughts? You never know how strong. Women crying out in this society for help, but we seem to be turning a
Sherrod,
deaf ear and a blind eye. Natasha,
Sherrod,
you are the expert,
Sherrod,
Natasha.
Sherrod, the $50 million is grossly inadequate. Sherrod, the Gender-Based Violence Act that was launched 9 months ago is nowhere in existence. It is not in existence. It was a
Wow.
collaboration with the UN Spotlight Initiative that addresses gender-based violence. It was a puppy show, a photo op
But Spotlight seems
of
to be getting a lot of money. But what are they doing? A lot of people pack up
exactly.
meeting. But what are they doing?
And that's a good question.
Natasha, sorry to interrupt you.
Good. That's all right. That's a good question. I will continue to ask the question, what has happened to the Gender-Based Violence Act that was launched by the Minister of Human Services and was given kudos by Irfan Ali. And it was a good photo op to have a man hold a phone depicting an app that will make things easy for the victims of gender based violence. It is not in existence, Sherrod, after 9 months. You check it for yourself. It is not in existence. So, what is this
Yeah.
illegal government telling people? They are fooling the people that they're doing work and they're using the money, but there is no evidence of the work.
And women losing their lives
Secondly,
every goddamn day.
secondly, let's address the 914 option. Malini was in the system many, many years, according to the relatives. She has been abused by the same person. Back and forth, the police records will show you where is the social worker that is involved in this matter. Why wasn't something being done? Why all these initiatives that we are seeing rolling out by the government not benefiting people in the local communities? Is it just a show for a photograph and a long write up? The people are not benefiting from the services, Sherrod. And that's the point I want to make. The system is failing our people.
And the
We can't
woman's
just
death.
listen. 16 days of activism. The minister, they're all over this country with candlelight vigil. And I want to underscore that advocacy is important. But we have to move from advocacy to action, man. Releasing balloons and candlelight vigils is not enough for our women who are suffering quietly. It's not enough.
Yeah. And the pandemic that is gender-based violence continues. And the things we're supposed to be using the National Assembly for, we aren't using it for that. Right?
No.
The speaker's proud to come back to say after 3 months something, after this, after that. But this is the reality. This is the reality of what we're dealing with here, Natasha. It is the reality.
Sharad, this is very sad, and it pains my heart to say it. But there are many more women who will suffer like Malini. Let me share with you, last Friday, I am the founder of Sisters Together Incorporated, and we had a community activity in Region 5 in Rosignol. And if you hear these women, young women, older women, if you hear them reach out and tell you their stories, and Sherrod, not one day the Ministry of Human Services been to Rosignol or that part of West Berbice. They have never seen, and let me go back to August 2020, they have never seen a social worker conduct a session in their communities. What is the government of Guyana doing in relation to domestic violence in West Berbice? I'm only going to go West Berbice. Anybody? It's really an honest question. What are they doing? Because we have the stories. We see people every single day talk about it. And they're reaching out for help, Sherrod. Civil society has a place to play. But when a budgetary allocation is made, people must be held accountable for it. Work has to go on. Work has to go on. We got to care for people's lives. We have to care.
And you know, it is sad to hear that you have a simple phone number to call and there's nobody manning that. It is sad to hear that a senior government functionary knew that this jagabat, this coward, was abusing this woman, but sought to get him, out of jail on several occasions. As you rightfully said, this woman was known to the system. But what did the system do? We should be ashamed to say that for years this woman suffered abuse. We should be ashamed as a society, as a people, as a country, as a government, to say that $50 million what we put into this scourge. Women die in the most heinous manner, chopped to death, strangled, run over by car, by their spouse, by people who, because the research tells us it is always somebody they know, some family member, right? And we seem not to want to deal with this matter for here, talking about the Calder story. That 18-year-old who made a report about rape, right? And her treatment was so egregious, she ends up taking her own life. This is the society, and we go want to go next month rather, when the new budget passing, for say, oh, it's the biggest budget ever. Oh, we're doing this and that in social services. But what the hell really being done for the people who need it the most? How will Minister install those she is of social services justify not funding the Sophia Night School? How will she justify this woman's death, Malini Wahid? How will they sleep comfortable at nights, knowing that we just had a massive flood, a couple of months after flood again, and we ask, and what the hell is being done with taxpayers' money on a daily basis in this country? How will they justify their 7% raise in salary? They cut down the 50% raise after under the APNU. They have done nothing to roll it back. They come, and not only do they enjoy the sweet of that 50%. They have increased it even more. How do they justify their tenure in office? You know what we have become, Natasha? We become a welfare state. We have become a hamper state. I saw that very minister installed Vindhya Prasad, some abused women the other day. Instead of being really getting policies that are deep and wide, you dash some hamper in the chest. You can't have Christmas party. You can't have Christmas social because of COVID. What is the answer? You dash hamper in the people's chest. Things tight in this country. You know what is the big solver? Oh, take half pint split peas, quarter pint oil, and a little salt in your backside, and go and be quiet. Hamper solves everything. So I literally read that article the other day. Here are this bunch of women who have been abused. And what is the government's policy prescription? Take some hamper in your chest.
Yeah.
Father of mercy, help us.
Sure, there's another aspect of this nationally on this issue on social services. I have noticed that the budgetary allocation that the minister was approved for the ministry is being rolled out. There are a number of initiatives, such as gender-based violence and so on, that is being rolled out. Not one member of the opposition has been invited, has been consulted on any of those initiatives, any of those projects, as if to say that the 200 and something thousand people don't matter to them. It is a particularly important point that we note that the opposition has not been consulted or involved in all of these projects that are being rolled out.
Yep. I don't think they want me and you. You think we can see them doing nonsense and let them? What they want is yes, people. You understand me? Yes, people. I would love to know what that institution, that initiative Spotlight is doing, like you asked. I would like to know what has happened to the legislation that is supposed to be working for women. I would like to know what is happening with all of the programs the police are involved in and how to treat the domestic violence issues. I would like to know that why this installed minister, senior government functionary who felt that he could have called the amount of times he called to get people out of story. You understand me? Listen to me. They would never like me. And they would never like you, Natasha. I often say to people, especially if you are my friends, you come right because you're my friend. You should not put me in a position to have to compromise myself. Because we are relatives, you should not put me in a position in where I have to subvert the law to do something for you. But these Chagabats, these Jebusites, these Hipposites, you understand me? It's friends and family. You get a ticket. You stop them to give them a traffic ticket. Somebody got a call. Somebody that they know. You understand me? This is what is happening here. This is what is happening.
It's a lawless society.
That is the crux of it, MP Natasha Singh, Lewis. That is the crux of it. Everybody trying to see how they can subvert the law to get where they need to go. Right? And while the common man, and just look what's happening with the cocaine issue in this country. Just as a segue, or as an aside rather, look what's happening. A man could go to jail for 3 and 2 grams of marijuana. That bill coming up for debate in Parliament just now. For 2 and 3 grams. But the man who shipping 11 pounds, 1,100 pounds of cocaine and 2 tons of cocaine, right? The investigation ain't even launched to find out who they be. But the man who get catch with 2 grams of marijuana, he gone to jail for 2 years, right? You see the other day, a magistrate grant bail to people found with guns and coke, but a man with 2 grams of marijuana. It is the crux of the matter, MP Lewis, Singh Lewis, what you have said. The
I
law
won't-
is not working.
No, it is not. And the government is defending these government officials who are involved in wrongdoing. On that note, let me say to you that I am currently conducting an investigation into abuse of female staff member at the GRO. It is alleged that Raymond Cummins has been verbally abusing staff members in that organization. It is really, really bad. If I will, at some point of time, when I conclude my investigation, I will make it known to the media. It is an unbearable situation at GRO, Sharon. All the female staff, most of them are complaining of being abused by their superior, Raymond Cummins.
I
But
want them to record him. I want them to record him and then let us play it for the nation. That's what they got to do.
yeah,
Response from these jagabats here. Because this
and
situation here with how we're treating our women folk is untenable.
it is. And Sharon, I can tell you that the minister that is responsible knows of what is happening, knows of the abuse of these women in public office, and we have not seen a statement. We have not seen anything in the media in relation to this. It says to me that the government is condoning the abuse of our female public servants.
But I'm happy you've said that. I am happy you said that because, and you will see statements start coming out from dead people and all. You dare suggest one of them is Wild Hog. You can see the Women's Army, the PPP. You can see Reverend Pat Sheraton, who the people say she belonged to the Presbyterian Church. You can see one Edgil. You can the Fisher Bishop, false prophet. You can see the same one you call all of them, Phillips, Teixeira, all of them. But meaningful, lasting policy decisions that can affect the lives of women meaningfully. Oh, they're absent. They gone AWOL. They gone quiet. The pen ink dry up. You understand me? The pen ink dry up. Here's an opportunity. You were asking, and Miss Prasad was asking, Kamal was asking, where are the men? They have an opportunity now across party lines to come out and to say to the men in this society, this is not acceptable behavior. It is not acceptable behavior. You know the woman, you have no exclusive jurisdiction. Even children got rights now, you can't knock them. She is not your exclusive jurisdiction. She like you know, go about your business.
Yeah.
It is not. What do they choose? Well, if they're harboring abusers even in their own ranks, is it Malini Wahid? They can come out to defend? If they got culprits and scams and vagabonds and abusers in their own ranks, you understand me? Where we own, till the next proper government swear in. Where we own, in this place. We own in this place. Them a flood out, where they live in, them a flood out. I want a minister, sitting minister, take a picture in their house at flood, where they live in currently, and post it and say to this nation, we feel the pain because we're going through the same thing. Their house in flood, and you see some of them in some pictures in flooded houses, they're visiting. Oh man, they're striking a pose. It's strike a pose vogue. Oh, they're such hypocrites. This is really there.
But Sharon, I want to say that the leadership that is being portrayed by the PPP government is not the leadership that the people deserve. And when you have installed people being lawless, perpetuating a lawless society, then matters like Malini Wahid will always come to front. We see Malini Wahid because she is um, out on the coast, and so there is media attention. But there are many women who are suffering, dying, being raped, chopped all over this country that is not being reported, and those reports will not come for us to see because they keep it on a wrap. Today in the National Assembly, Robson Ben stood up to tell us that serious crimes have dropped 21%. Could you imagine that? Which Guyana he living in? It's not the same scenario for me. That's not my reality. I don't know what is wrong with who is collecting Robson's data, who is analyzing Robson's data. I don't know. But he had a lot to say.
Robson collecting your data.
I want to say so, you know. I want to say so. But I don't know where this 21% drop. I want to see the evidence because I don't believe it.
Well, he could tell that to who he feels going to buy that, right? I'm certain Miss Wahid family ain't buying that. Right? Malini Wahid's family ain't buying that. Miss Calder family, the young woman we spoke about last week, who took her own life because of the police mishandling of her rape report, her family wouldn't buy that. So they got to know who buying that, but the system isn't working. That is the point we are making. And so the jagabats who are going to be listening and making all your negative comments, you show us in this country how the system working. And as the women on this program have said, Natasha Singh Lewis and Kamal Prasad, you know, we're getting some serious challenges because of blackout and internet failing, all of that. This is the country we're living in. Cowboy country under these people. They have said lots of women are suffering in silence. And it's only when you see this kind of thing happen, and then family gonna tell you it's years. A minister's call and get you off. Is he friend? Just drinking body. You understand me? One thing more than them. People suffer in silence out of shame, out of a number of reasons. And you, as the expert, Natasha, can articulate them so well why women stay. Right? Yep. But it is not, let me talk to the men. It is not acceptable behavior. It is not. Right? No, it is not. So we got to stop it.
And we should not encourage it.
Very well. Very well. Natasha, I know that you're talking to us on the sidelines of the 32nd sitting of the National Assembly. That should have happened weeks, if not months ago, because the recess is finished a long time. And we're so grateful to have you folks. This by no means is a program which we can exhaust. Something as serious as domestic violence and gender-based violence. It's such a scourge on this society that should be treated the way we treat COVID, the COVID pandemic, with that kind of serious. Well, I shouldn't even say that with that level of serious, because they ain't treating it here serious at all. COVID-19. They ain't treating it serious at all. You know, as we wrap up our discussion today, and as I mentioned COVID, MP St. Louis, it is laughable to see them saying that they won't have any Christmas parties because of COVID and no socialization. But just last weekend, I see the tourism ministry had a big social by an establishment on the East Bank. Right? The president and owners dancing the night away. They go from village to village. I see a big social just over the weekend. The people at Wales, I think, were complaining about the money not being handed out and them having them waiting for 6 hours and then telling them, come back this morning at high flood. That's a social. So it is, you know, it is the double standard. It's amazing. I saw my brother James Bond crying out last night to saying how they are stymieing his business, how the PPP stink wicked and dirty. But for other businesses, they are allowed to go on to all hours of the night. So they got no respect for COVID. They're saying you can open as late as 10. And James Bond and his patrons are arguing, sorry, you can open until 11 p.m. And Bond and his patrons are arguing that since 10 o'clock, the COVID task force and police park up outside by heat to close him down. Right? So they ain't got no respect for COVID. They got
Yeah.
big parties happening all over these countries where superstars are flying in to headline. And this government knows about it. So for them to say that there will be no staff parties because of COVID, it is laughable. Catfish, you and your whole crew, it is laughable.
But Sharon, when they would be having their private party, you wouldn't know. So they
Unless
can.
people, I want, their trouble, Natasha, sorry to interrupt you.
It's all right.
Their trouble
It's
is
all
that
right.
they've come back to a different country and they're unprepared for social media. So I want them people to videotape them and get it to us. I can bust the bag out below the belt.
Yep. We have to expose them. We have to expose the hypocrisy that exists. They say one thing and they do something else. And that is not going to help our society in this modern era, in this oil producing nation, as you say. It's not going to help us. It's not going to help our women and girls to be safe and to be alive for
Yep,
tomorrow.
yep, yep. As some of our viewers and listeners are saying, they got all kind of private mass party, no mass party, and all of that. But you can say to public servants, they can have a social because of COVID. The hypocrisy, you know.
Yeah.
But we will have to hold ourselves responsible for what comes next in this country. It's either we sit down and we take it, you understand me? Or we say to them very soon in very short order, enough PPP is enough. The Americans are already signaling to them. Joe Biden, through the American embassy, is already signaling to them, enough is enough. And there are voices being raised in civil society, and I commend them for that, that says enough is enough. And we will have our part to play as well. All of our listeners, all of our viewers, we have our part to play as well. MP Natasha St. Louis, I want to thank you again. I know you took some time off from the National Assembly and not sitting there to join us on the sidelines for this program because it is so important to you. And I'm happy that you're so passionate about helping people, helping women, simply helping across the spectrum. And I know Tabitha Saraba Halley wanted to be with us today, but we're having our own challenges, technical, because of the blackout and the service and all of those things. And I want to thank Kamal as well, who was with us, but was knocked out of the program for some unknown reason. Again, lots of technical challenges here. This is Guyana. This is Guyana. We come to the studio on time to do a program professionally, and then it's blackout, it's internet, it's every goddamn thing. Why? Why? Because people look the top and they take their cue. They take the cue, right? They
Thank you for
take the
having
cue, and
me,
that is
Sarah.
why. Yep. Thank you for being here, and they're always availing yourself. MP Natasha St. Louis and our Region 7 Vice Chair Kamal Pasal. I didn't know Tabitha Saraba Halley wanted to be here with us as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sharon. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Folks, there you have it. That's our program for today. These are the folks we're dealing with. This is the country we're dealing with. We ain't getting better, you know. Michaela Webster, Pinky Anderson, we ain't getting better. Right? Nicole Hardin, we ain't getting better. Cheryl Mulrain, you think we getting better? Chandel Moses, we getting better? Folks, we got work to do. We have work to do. And that is why I encourage you guys to ensure you partner with us. Put us on an even footing, or try to put us on an even footing to do what we got to do at our end. Come on board and partner with us, folks. We need your support to keep our programs going, to keep out here, to keep bringing you the valid and credible information. Roxanne Nelson, Hilary Bunn, and Patricia Kissoon, and Diane Griffzandi, Claire Alexis Chomley, Richmond. We need your support, folks. We got several platforms available. By now, you know at the Cash App is the $ in the ring 592. At PayPal, it's in the ring 592 at gmail.com. At the MMG platform, which is our local Cash App here in Guyana, at the MMG platform, our number there is 627-6963. We're also available via Western Union and MoneyGram. We need your support to keep moving forward. We need your support to keep moving forward, people. Right? This is one way in which we fight them. Some of the funds you're going to be sending us are going to be using for other things. We're donating monies to support different people, different organizations, other different programs as well. And so you should know by now, when you look and you see what's been happening, that your dollars are well spent with us. We got additional programs we are going to be rolling out in short order as well. I want to thank you guys for joining us so far. Lunchtime after lunchtime, we came on in such a hurry, didn't even ask you guys what you guys are eating today. On Mondays, personally, I fast on Mondays, and so I'm in the process of doing that because I want to make sure that the things that I'm engaged in, I'm being guided by the man upstairs, by the Almighty, and I can say very boldly, by God. Because I have accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I don't say you have to do that, but that is my choice. And so for me, Mondays, I fast and pray. I want to start the week well. I want to start the week on a high note and give thanks to the Almighty. And so I am fasting today, but I do take some juice periodically and perhaps some fruits, but I haven't been able to do so as yet. But I really want to thank all of you guys who are here with us. And I know some of you out there who messaged me privately saying that you're praying for us, you're praying for me, you're praying for the program, you're praying for the team. We feel those prayers. We feel those prayers. Those of you who don't believe in prayers and so on, that's okay too. That's okay. We always say, all are welcome in the ring. You belong to a political party, you're welcome here, sir. No political party, you're still welcome. You belong to a particular, religious sect, religious denomination, you're welcome here, sir, too. You belong to none, you're still welcome. But that being said, folks, we want to thank you guys. Consider, for those of you who haven't yet, consider partnering with us. And in that way, you own this program. You own this program. We really appreciate all of you who join us week after week, month after month. And now we're proud to say year after year. Y'all take down y'all chest like a hamper. Year after year. Really privileged to have you guys. We're going to see you guys right back here tomorrow, same time, same place. Thanks for joining us, each and every one of you. Carol Jones and Utendi Grant, Alexis Offer, good to see you there. Roxanne Nelson, Hilliman, good to see you as well. Sean Rodney, how are you doing, Sean? Good to see all of you fantastic people. Thanks for joining us. Carol Jonas, we see you, boo. We see you, Carol. We see you. Who is tempted to do divine? You got some fancy name. Tempted to, what was that? I can't even pronounce the thing, man. Come on, folks. Give me a simple name, the man. Candy, the little indigit. We see you there on YouTube, Candy. A fantastic afternoon to all of you folks. Stay safe until we see you guys this evening in the ring. Thanks for joining our podcast, Below the Belt. Stay safe.